Chapter 1: Any Other Day. This story takes place back around June 20th, a couple days before I get off school for the summer, and it was like any other Tuesday. I woke up, had breakfast, and went to school. Once I get there, my class is basically empty. Like, from what I remember, there were only 4 people. I won't bore you with the details, but I do remember saying to myself this day is going to be pretty uneventful and boring. But how wrong I was. I was there on the bus heading to school thinking about how boring it was going to be when I got there, because there was like no one going to school in my class, so no one to really talk to unless I just walked to other people's classes. Anyways, I get to school and I walk to my class as I normally do, and there is no one in my class except one person. Of course, I thought to myself, so I just sat down and waited for people to show up and for the teacher to see what we were doing today. By the time the teacher shows up to class, the bell rings and only 3 other people show up. Anyway, long story short, I was going to be super bored today. Our homeroom teacher comes in and says that we are going to merge with a different class today since we have very low numbers today. This got my hopes up a bit. We are going to go with Mr. Sims' homeroom and another teacher's homeroom. I don't remember what teacher it was. Anyways, long story short, the couple people we had in our class, including me, walked down the hall towards Mr. Sims' room. I was hoping some of my friends went in there, but sadly they didn't come to school that day either, so I walked in and recognized 2 people in there, Connor and Abby. I walked over and started talking to Connor, but right as we did, I was told that we're going to do an actively in a different teachers for the fun things we were going to do today. So we walked to the other classroom and we were supposed to do some color activity. I helped some of the French kids that I knew until I walked back over to Connor. And that's when I saw her. There was a girl sitting next to Abby that I have met before. Her name was Olivia. I don't know what it was, but there was something warm about her. I just couldn't explain it. But soon after we started doing the Kahoot and I was helping out Connor and joking around when Abby had to go upstairs for some reason. I can't remember exactly why. But I do remember what went through my head next. I was just standing next to Connor the whole time because there wasn't any sitting, but I didn't mind. But the sit Abby was sitting in was free and all I could think about was me sitting with her. I also forgot to say that Connor had gone up with Abby, so it would just be me and her. So Abby and Connor walked upstairs as I walked over and sat down next to Olivia. We didn't really exchange words at the start, and usually I don't start conversing with new people. But today I was different. I felt confident and eager to talk to someone, but I also was very excited to talk to her and just couldn't explain what was about her. Maybe it was her nice hair or the soft personality she had or her sweet soft voice, but whatever it was, it had me feeling something. And this feeling, I couldn't explain what it was, something I never felt before in my life, but I had to know what I was feeling. So I just proceeded to ask how her day was going and if she was enjoying it. I think she gave just a good nothing much else. But I don't know how I came up with this question, but I asked her, "What is your favorite animal?" It was such a random question, like out of nowhere I asked it. And after I said it, I was thinking that was a pretty random thing to say. She turned to face me and happily answered the question. My question wasn't that weird after all. She had a smile on her face and even seemed ecstatic. I asked that question, and from that one question it sparked into a huge conversation. I don't remember exactly about what, but I didn't really care because she was so happy and sweet. My eyes were glued to her. The way she talked and smiled had me enchanted. She was perfect. And I knew right then and there what I was feeling. My whole body knew it's something you would only read about fairy tales or books. Something some people don't even think exist. That's right, I was feeling true love. Chapter 2: Falling in Love. Now, I'm sure you're skeptical of this. You're probably thinking, you're only in junior high, you're not old enough to know anything about love. Just like how you wouldn't be old enough to know how to pay taxes. And if someone told me this, I would be skeptical too. But once I tell you what else happened that day, you will start to believe. As we continued our conversation, I remember asking a lot of questions. Like, what was your favorite color? What do you want to do when you're older? Do you have any siblings? Do you want to marry me? I didn't actually ask that last question, but I did want to. But I was being a bit of a detective trying to figure out everything I could about her. and yet she always took my breath away with how she responded. Just a simple happy smile that melted my heart every time she did it, as she pierced my soul with her eyes. At this point, I didn't know what to do myself. Minutes felt like seconds as she talked back and forth about our lives. We asked questions about everything. What's your favorite music? How have been liking school? Until Abby and Connor returned from upstairs. Chapter 3: Past Before the Future. Future me looks back on these moments on this day like how you would look at old high school photos with memories coming back of those times and how you felt, and sometimes with envy, wishing you could go back and relive them. That's how I feel. I want to live those moments over and over again, every second of it, just to relive.